Another day is here, and you're ready for it. What to wear? Check. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Check. Planning for what's next and how to save for it? That's where Bank of America can help. For your financial to-dos, Bank of America has experts ready to help get you closer to your goals. Get started at one of our local financial centers or 24/7 in our mobile banking app. Find a location near you at bankofamerica.com/talktous. What would you like the power to do? Mobile banking requires downloading the app and is only available for select devices. Message and data rates may apply. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hello and welcome to AI Scouted on Anfield Index Pro. I'm Dave Hendrick, joined by Mr. Guy Drinkle. How are you, sir?
Yeah, that Arnie Slot interview was really good, wasn't it?
We are recording on Friday, and Karl Matchett has made himself unavailable because of work commitments. So we are here to talk today about England, Switzerland, and Netherlands, Turkey. Now, obviously, as you're hearing this, Spain, Germany, and Portugal, France have taken place, but we have no earthly idea what's happened in those games, so we will not be talking about them. Guy, let's start then with England versus Switzerland, which is the early kickoff. England have not been good in this competition. They've played 4 games. They've been very disappointing. They were very, very fortunate to beat Slovakia in the round of 16, whereas the Swiss have looked pretty good. They, in their group stage, began with the win over the Hungarians. Then they drew with Scotland, which was a disappointing result. And then they drew with Germany, but they actually outplayed Germany for large spells in that game. Then in the round of 16, they very efficiently just dismissed the Italians. Freuler with the first goal, Vargas with the second, which was an absolute stunner. And they come into this game full of confidence, full of belief, whereas England come in, by the word of some journalists, toying with the idea of playing a back three, which they haven't done in this tournament. And England haven't played a back three in a few years now. So this is set up to be an interesting game, because obviously England should win this based on the talent we see on both sides.
The thing is, I think a back three does actually suit the squad. I mean, you could have actually brought some players who could play a wing-back and left centre-back, for instance, but maybe if you actually thought about playing a back three before the tournament, then yeah. It's interesting whether it's to match up Switzerland's back three or the fact that Trippier is missing. There's been zero width on the left, which nobody could have seen coming, obviously. Or is it just, again, the clamour of people wanting Trent in there, and he wouldn't dare play Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. I reckon it's just the public clamouring. I don't think he wants Trent anywhere near the team. I think he just picked the midfield thing because, I don't know, people wanted Trent in the team for some reason. After, in his worst form in like 2 years, people started clamouring for him in the England team when the 4 years previous nobody was asked. It just seems like very strange times in the England team. If there's just panic and swap formation and you bring in Konza in as a left centre-back, Walker as a right centre-back, who's been awful this tournament, and You've got Walker and Trent to mark Vargas, who's probably an Endoy floating over to that side as well. They've probably been the two danger men for Switzerland this tournament. So that'll be an interesting duel. What you said is right. England have just been awful, and Switzerland probably been the third best team that's remaining in the tournament. Yeah. On paper, England should win this comfortably, but on performance, it feels like this should be like a Swiss 2-0 win. I don't think it will be, but if they do lose to the Swiss, I'm not saying it's an Iceland situation because that's disrespectful to Switzerland. But England, on paper, should easily get to the final this tournament, and that is almost being disrespectful to this half of the tournament. But look at the players England have and aren't performing.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it's awful.
It is, and you're completely right. Like this wouldn't be an Iceland situation. I think Slovakia was the Iceland game, and they managed to survive that one. But it would be a huge disappointment to go out to Switzerland. And you are right. I mean, they should be beating Switzerland. They should beat the Netherlands. They should beat Turkey. Anything other than the final is a huge underperformance because the draw broke so easily for them. Like, they might get to the final without taking on any of the 4 other favourites to win the competition. Like, pre-tournament, you'd have looked at it and you'd have said France, England, Portugal, and then Germany, Spain. If you're going to throw another one in, you'd probably just default to the Italians because they're the reigning holders, and obviously Italy are, one of the kind of superpower national teams historically. Mm-hmm. England have played nobody. Serbia, always disappointed in international tournaments. Denmark, they're decent, but they're average. Slovenia, they're a huge underdog. Slovakia, huge underdog. The Swiss, they always do well at tournaments, but again, they're not exactly a big power. And then either the Netherlands or Turkey. The Netherlands obviously have, a great history, but they've only won one international tournament ever. And their golden years are a long, long time gone, the 70s and 80s. They're now living on the reputations of ghosts. So, the Turks, they're not a team that England should be losing to. If England fail to reach the final, it will be a huge, huge disappointment for their fans and for the general public. But I really wouldn't be surprised if they did lose this game. Like the back three, it makes a ton of sense to have Trent right wing back and Saka left wing back. But I still think he's going to make a mess of the midfield by not picking Adam Wharton, who's exactly what England are lacking. Mm-hmm. I don't like the idea of Foden and Bellingham behind Kane. Mm-hmm. I think it would work better with Bellingham and either Ollie Watkins up alongside Kane, Jared Bowen up alongside Kane, or Anthony Gordon kind of playing a roving wing role where he dips to both sides. Mm-hmm. To have pace, to have that ability to get in behind the defence. England haven't gotten behind the defence at all this tournament, other than against Denmark when Christiansen fell asleep and Kyle Walker ran in behind him. Like, England have scored 4 goals in this competition. And there's been a measure of good fortune about all of them. And they haven't played a team with a really strong defence yet. Now, the Swiss are not great defensively, but I think they'll be a challenge for England. They do play a back three. They're very comfortable in that back three. They've been playing it for years. And that might hurt England to go and try and play another team's formation against them, because I think the Swiss will know what the flaws are in that shape. I am going to pick England to win, but it is largely down to the fact that they do just have the most talent. But I don't trust Southgate, and based on how these players have played, I mean, who would you trust on the pitch? Bellingham has shown up twice in big moments, in the first game and in the most recent game, to score. I think Rice has been okay. Guehi was really good, but he's now suspended. Kane's been poor, Foden's been poor, Saka hasn't been great. Stones has been pretty good. I haven't been overly impressed with Kobbie Mainoo. I haven't been impressed at all with Kyle Walker. And like just on the Trent thing as well, it did feel like what Southgate did was he set him up to fail. Like, everybody's been clamouring for him in midfield or for him in the team. So I'm going to do this now to prove them that they were all wrong. And then I can drop him before the group stage is over and go to doing what I want to do. Because he just seems incredibly stubborn. And he's been wrong about Trent his entire time in charge. Kyle Walker has been garbage in this competition. And frankly, he's been garbage for years for England. And yet he will not play Trent at right back for whatever reason. So now if he can find a happy medium of playing him as a wing back and using Walker as the right-sided centre-back in a 3, I think that might pacify everybody. But I also think there's a chance it does work. I do think there's a chance it does work well, having Trent and Saka as wing-backs.
Yeah, we mentioned it on the Big Gareth Southgate pod, didn't we? I think Saka, we just kind of got to use him as a winger. But I think it'd work better if it was Gomez right centre-back. He's never going to drop. Kyle Walker will be 170 playing for England, I think. And then you could shift into a back 4. Connor's not the most comfortable left back because he's not played there for his club. But for some reason, Southgate thinks he is a left back for some reason. You could just shift into a back 4 if it's not working, put Saka higher up, and then Trent to right back. But we know he's not tactically flexible enough to do that. Southgate, that is not Trent. It's just been limited by quite a poor manager, I think. And the fact that we've barely seen Gordon, barely seen Palmer, barely seen Ollie Watkins, as you mentioned, he got like 20 minutes, was it the Slovenia game or the Serbia game, made more runs than Harry Kane did and it has in the entire tournament. I know the Tony sub worked, but that was just pure desperation more than anything. It's just very, very odd at the minute. And as we've kind of alluded to, Switzerland are the best side England have played, and Rice on paper is probably the best midfield on the pitch. But Granit Xhaka's probably... And this feels weird to say. He's probably one of the best midfielders in the world on form. And I kind of feel sick saying it. But he's been fantastic since that last year at Arsenal, building onto this. And we know people like Freuler will do a role. That's kind of what we need. That's what England need. We need someone to do a role next to Rice so Rice can go around dominating games. That's why you had the weird, stupid thing about Calvin Phillips, because he just let Rice do his role. But as you mentioned,
Adam Walton, box to box.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, Rice is more of Freuler than he is a Xhaka. And what England need is a Xhaka. And that player is Adam Wharton. Like, Adam Wharton would sit in that midfield and run the game in the same way Granit Xhaka does for Switzerland. And Rice could go box to box and break up play and do all the Declan Rice things. And yet, we're going to see him with Kobbie Mainoo. And Mainoo is atrocious defensively. Like, absolutely atrocious. I know he wins ball, but he wins ball by abandoning his position. And if he doesn't get to the ball, teams are just running through the space he's been in. And if he's in that space, they're still running through it. It makes no sense to me that Southgate won't try Wharton and Rice. Ollie Watkins has played 21 minutes plus injury time in this competition. That came against Denmark.
That's the one, yeah.
This past season, Ollie Watkins, I think, was the 3rd or 4th highest scorer in the Premier League and led the Premier League in assists. And he gets 21 minutes. Like, the England team has never been about merit under Southgate. It's about who his favourites are. And that's why we see Walker in the team. It's why, despite horrendous form, I know he's captain, but there's no reason for Harry Kane to start this game other than the fact that he's captain.
Tony did more in 5 minutes than Kane had this entire tournament.
You could play Kane, you could play Tony and Watkins as a two, with Jude behind them, be incredibly physical up front, still have two good goal scorers, two good finishers, and then have Kane off the bench with 15 minutes to go. Because Kane, to me, doesn't look fit. Like, Kane is a better player than both of them, don't get me wrong. Harry Kane, in my opinion, is the best number 9 in the world. If I could pick anybody, I would pick him over Erling Haaland. I think he's the best all-round 9 in the world. But he doesn't look fit to me. So I would be inclined, personally, to maybe just try something different. Try those other two up front and see how they go. I'm going to pick England to win 2-1.
Yeah, I think Gareth Southgate has the power of spawn, and you can't defeat that until you become a good team. Until you come up against a good team, I should say. Not to disrespect the Swiss, but I think we're waiting on the final. Unless Netherlands can step up or Turkey can step up in the next game. And England bottle it, but I mean, that Slovakia game just proved it. Gareth Southgate has those powers. So yeah, I agree with 2-1 after extra time again.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Right. I think the Netherlands, who take on Turkey in the late game, are one of the more confusing teams in this competition. So if we look at their group, they start off with a win over Poland where they go 1-0 down, come back and win 2-1. Then they draw with France, and I actually thought they played quite well in that game. And then they play Austria and they lose 3-2, and I thought they were absolutely dreadful. And then what looked like it was going to be a tricky round of 16 game, they absolutely dominated Romania. Like, other than... In fact, no, I actually think it was the most dominant performance we saw in the round of 16. I know Spain beat Georgia 4-1, but they did go 1-0 down, and for the first 35 minutes or so, Spain looked rattled. They looked like maybe it was a little bit too much for them, and they got a bit panicky. But then once they got their goal, they settled into their groove, and they were just really good. But from start to finish, the Netherlands looked tremendous, and if not for a consistent supply of very poor final balls from Denzel Dumfries and Steven Bergwijn and Xavi Simons, they probably win that game 6 or 7-0. Such was their dominance on the day. They win it 3-0. Cody Gakpo scores the first goal. Daniel Malin gets 2 late goals. The Netherlands looked really, really good in that game. The Turks then upset Austria, who had been one of the best teams in the competition in the group stage. But Turkey got 2 goals from set pieces. They defended really well. And in Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz, they have 2 very exciting attacking players. Now, they won't have Ergun Koku for this game, but they do get Hakan Çalhanoğlu back. And if they're going to play the same 3-4-3 they played against the Austrians, then Çalhanoğlu in for Koku is an upgrade for them. This promises to be a pretty good game, but I do feel like the Dutch go in as pretty heavy favourites.
Yeah, and obviously Turkey have Gordon Banks in goal as well, which helps. I think there'll be goals in this game. neither side do defending, which is it's weird considering the players Holland have, especially in defence. The midfield's obviously not the best balance, but yeah, you look at the Dutch side, and Van Dijk, Nathan Ake's one of the best left backs, left centre back, left back in the league in the last 2 years. De Vrij, however he says that, a bit weird, seeing as he seemed to be on the downturn a few years ago now. But I suppose that's more a conversation about how De Ligt's fallen off more than De Vrij. And I know you've never been a fan of Dumfries, but he's there to attack rather than defend, which might be the issue. They just look so easy to attack, almost Liverpool-like. Like when you attack Liverpool, you were just at the defence straight away. So maybe that's the issue more so than anything. But they need to improve defensively. Verbruggen's been quite good, and it's nice to see that it's not just random 50-year-old Eredivisie keepers that just exist to play for Holland now, or for the Netherlands, I should say. I think the Netherlands should just keep the same side. I know Bergwijn didn't perform too well, but we saw what happened when Marlon started. He doesn't do the defensive work, and I think that's where you need to limit it. So Bergwijn just doing to kind of help cover that Dumfries void will help. Xavi Simons didn't produce, but he's doing a good role. It's a bit weird. I mean, as Liverpool fans, we watch Cody Gakpo for 18 months, 2 years now, and he's just such a different player playing on the left. And you just like, he suits this side. International football is obviously not as good as Premier League football or club football, but he does look like a player transformed with just the confidence of playing that side in his natural role. And it's something to bring into the Liverpool side, but I think there'll be goals, and I think there'll be a lot of vibes. So I'm going to go... I've already done 3-2. 3-3 and penalties, why not?
Yeah, I mean, a penalty shootout would be fun. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think Bergwijn, like, I thought that the link up between him and Dumfries was actually really good first half. They just couldn't find a final ball between them. Mm-hmm. But he does offer a lot of help defensively, and he's explosively quick as well. Now, so is Daniel Malen, but Daniel Malen is so adverse to the idea of defensive work that his only contribution in this tournament before the 2 goals against Romania had been an own goal against Austria. Cody's playing really well, no question about it. International football does just suit him to a T. And the question from me is, Turkey don't have a striker. So they're playing largely a front three of wingers. And I do wonder that because De Vrij is, like, he's slow, he's static, he's not good on the turn, he never fully recovered from the bad knee injury. I do wonder if just the pace and movement of the Turks causes him some problems. Now, Virgil, we know, is sensational, but if he's got no one to mark and he's going to have to sweep everywhere, it might just be a case where Turkey, because they've got decent ball movement in that front three, they can drag Virgil to the right, covering De Vrij, and then switch it quickly to the left, and maybe end up 2v1 against Aki. That's the concern I have, is just that the pace and movement of the Turks cause the Netherlands problems. But I think the Netherlands, they've got more attacking talent. Memphis hasn't been great, but Memphis is a really good player. Cody's a good player. Bergwijn's a decent player. And Xavi Simons is obviously a good player. Plus, they've got loads of options off the bench. And I feel like it's that attacking depth that gives them the advantage. So I'm going to go 3-1 to the Netherlands. And that will set up an England-Netherlands semi-final. which, I mean, could be fantastic for Virgil.
I pick who I'd win. I'm going to pick Turkey on penalties.
You pick Turkey on penalties.
Yeah.
So you're setting up England-Turkey in the semi-finals and just gifting England the path to the final.
Yeah.
I'm at least putting up a bit of a wall in front of them. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the better game of the two on the Saturday.
Oh, absolutely.
I think because there's a real chance England-Switzerland is a very dull game that goes 0-0 and goes to penalties. And the Swiss would be very happy with that. They'll love it if it goes to penalties. Because they've got Jan Sommer, they've got proven penalty takers. Now, England have good penalty takers as well, but they've also got a couple of lads you might not trust all that much. I think this Netherlands-Turkey game promises to be quite exciting. So, and I'd imagine it'll be quite interesting in the Netherlands because there's quite a big Turkish community in the Netherlands. And there's been multiple players over the years who've been born in the Netherlands and ended up playing for Turkey. Ergun Koku was one of them. He obviously can't play in this game. Yeah, I'm gonna go England Netherlands as the semi-final, and you've got England Turkey. I think either one of those could be interesting because if it's England Turkey, that could be a big test for England on set pieces, and that might be where we see people whinge about Harry Maguire not being in the team. But Turkey also aren't very good defensively.
Just bring Lewis Dunk in for that.
He might, he might. He's weird. He was going to bring Lewis Dunk on in the last game. That was going to be his second substitution, was to bring on Lewis Dunk. The fella's away with the fairies. Right, we will leave it there. Karl Matchett has finally woken up. And, just the hour and 40 minutes late, Karl. Not to worry, though. Not to worry. Hope you had yourself a good sleep while we've been here slaving away. Guy, is there anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I'll be back Sunday with Carl because you don't do Sundays.
Not at all. No, I don't do Sunday mornings. Absolutely no. So,
well, that's it.
That's it. Make sure you give him plenty of abuse now. I want to hear him giving abuse. I want to hear a public apology. That's what I want.
Shall we introduce the latest points right now?
I think just right at this and start
right now. Yeah,
so he's plus 1 million for today, and I think next week, as we head towards the semi-finals and final, I might be late every day by like 3 or 4 minutes and still beat him in that regard. Right, we will. The boys will be back on Sunday, and then we've got less games obviously next week, but we'll still try and have a daily pod for you. It might just be rambling nonsense, but we'll come up with something. Send us ideas. If you have ideas, send them to us. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Sports Social Podcast Network.